Alright, these ones we're supposed to expand the logarithms using the log properties. So for part A, we have ln of x divided by ln of e to the x. So for starters, we're going to separate it out into two separate logarithms. And since it was division here, that turns it into the subtraction of two separate logs. Once it's here, this x goes out front. So ln x minus x times ln of e. And you have to recognize that ln of e is simply equivalent to 1. So what you have here is ln x times x, or ln x minus x times 1, which would just be ln x minus x. And you could check that in your calculator if you wanted to. You could store a random value for x. So let's see what x is right now. Okay, x isn't super random, or 10 isn't super random. That looks good. So now x is this. So if I type ln of x over e raised to the x, alright, and then type my final answer, which is ln of x, close the parenthesis, minus x, they should match. That's a great way to check your work. If I look at option B, for this one, we have two logs being multiplied together on the inside. So I'm going to start by putting two separate logarithms with the two things that were being multiplied together. And since they're being multiplied together, it's going to be addition in the middle. We can clean up the square root. So log x squared plus, we can rewrite this as log 1 minus x to the 1/2. Because anything that's being square rooted, its equivalent exponent would be to the 1/2 power. And the last thing we can do for each of these is take that exponent and move it out front. So 2 log x plus 1/2 log 1 minus x. And that one you can check in your calculator as well, just like we did for part A. If we look at part C, we have two things being divided to begin with. So that turns into 2 logs. And since they were divided, you're going to put subtraction in the middle. Then you got to take a look at each logarithm. We still have 2 things being multiplied together here. So that's going to split up into 2 more logs. Make sure you keep the base consistent throughout. With addition, there's only one thing here still, so I'm going to keep that the same. All right, and then each of these have exponents that can be bumped out in front of their respective logarithm. So 2 log base 3 of x plus 4 log base 3 of y minus 3 log base 3 of z. If you wanted to check something like this in your calculator, what you'd have to do is store separate values for x, y, and z, which is possible, but you might not find that it's worth it. I don't know. It's up to you, but you could store 3 separate variables, one for x, one for y, one for z, make them all random, and see what happens. All right, the last one in this section, we have 2 things being multiplied together, 100 and x plus 1 squared. So we're going to have log 100 plus log x plus 1, the quantity squared. 2 things are going to happen here. For starters, we have this here. This is the common log. So log base 10 of 100 is asking the same thing as 10 to what power would actually give us 100. And if you're not sure what that is, you could always use your calculator, type log 100, just spit out 2. So that's an option. So this first logarithm is just equal to 2. And then for the second one, really the only thing we can do is move that log, or that 2 out front. And that one would be a really easy one to check in your calculator since there's that single variable of x on the inside.